Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, here are 5 things that you should know if you plan to or if you want to buy the Sony A7C. Number 1. So we all know that these Sony cameras have great eye autofocus and face autofocus. However, the eye autofocus and the face autofocus does not work when shooting video in 100 fps or 120 fps. But if you lower the frame rate, that is make it 60 or 30 or 25 or 24, then the eye autofocus and face autofocus will work. So that's something that I didn't know about, and that's something that you should know about. Number 2. Now, like I told you, the eye autofocus does not work in 100 fps and 120 fps. The same way, the object tracking, when you touch your trackpad and you touch your touchscreen, and when you want to track a subject in video especially, it does not work when it's on a high frame rate. So again, you need to lower that frame rate if you want that feature to work, which is a great feature in these newer Sony cameras, but sadly, it does not work on 100 or 120 fps. Number 3. So surprisingly, or well, it's a good thing, that this little camera, the Sony A7C, has a great internal mic without even having an external mic on top or a lapel mic or something like that. You can use the internal mic of this camera in a lot of situations and it'll work quite well. Well, let me give you a demo. Of course, there'll be a little room tone over here. Don't mind that, but let me test this out, okay? Let's switch to this camera. Okay, so right now I'm vlogging with my Sony A7C and this is the internal mic which you can hear me from. And what do you say? The audio is pretty good, isn't it? It's loud enough, it's clear enough, and I think even without an external mic, it's doing a great job. So there you go, great mic. Now, number 4. So a lot of people have this complaint that Sony A7C does not have enough customizable buttons, and that is true to a certain extent, but you can work around it. You can customize a lot of other things, and this function menu is very helpful. But one button which a lot of people don't realize is this one. This record button. Well, you can customize this and make this into whatever shortcut you want to. So that's number 4. Now number 5. So we, the new generation of photographers, are usually shooting for Instagram, right? And the aspect ratio whenever we are shooting vertical pictures, that is in the portrait mode, not the landscape mode, is 4:5 or 8:10. So by default, the earlier Sony cameras used to have the ratio 3:2 or 16:9, and 3:2 is for pictures usually. But in these newer cameras, especially the A7C, it has a 4:3 ratio, a 1:1 ratio, a 16:9 ratio, and a 3:2 ratio. So you can select those ratios over here like this, and especially for Instagram, you can select 4:3 and click pictures in that ratio so that you know roughly what your framing is going to be. Of course, one advantage of that is if you're shooting in RAW, these pictures are not really cropped in. You'll get the full 3:2 ratio if you open this image in Lightroom or Photoshop and reset the photo layout, and you'll get more information on either sides of the picture. So this setting helps if you want to frame your subjects or objects while shooting for Instagram. Alright, so those were 5 things which I wanted to tell you guys if you plan to buy the Sony A7C. It's a great camera. Few cons but a lot of pros. And I love this camera and I'm sure you loved my video. So if you loved it, please give me a like because there's no love button over here. And if you really loved it, please do subscribe to my channel because if you don't, hopefully someone else will. And then they will reap the benefits of the content that I deliver. Hopefully. I'm Aries and I'll see you next time. Until then, keep shooting.